Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am Michelle Malcolm, your host for this afternoon, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. This is a Wellness Wednesday, and every Wellness Wednesday we talk about a matter that is of importance to your general health. Now, this is sort of a follow-up today to yesterday's show. And if you missed it, I want to highly recommend that you go back and watch the show from yesterday, because the show yesterday dealt with Dr. Peter McCullough revealing some scientific evidence proof that a global, in his words, syndicate allegedly intentionally misled nations around the world as it relates to that global phenomenon that happened over the past 3 years, and their approach to treatment or non-treatment. So please go back and watch that show if you weren't watching it live. Some really startling information was presented during that show, because there has been quite a bit of research done now by members of the scientific community, proving what many people were warning about since day one. And now there's proof of apparently, allegedly, some stuff happening that makes you wonder what's really going on. So I promised yesterday that I was going to do a part 2 today by way of what you can do if you were one of the people who trusted what the authorities were saying and went ahead and took that safe and effective medical procedure. And we got to speak in codes, because if you come right up and say the things, then you easily get flagged and shut down. So I'm trying as best as I could to stay on air as long as I can with this information. So we're going to be talking in code today. You're going to hear me referring to, as well as the clips that I found, you're going to be hearing us refer to the safe and effective medical procedure. You all know what we're talking about. Okay? So, what today's show is going to be about is we are going to be providing you with information as to what you can do if you were one of the people who trusted what the authorities were telling you, and now you find yourself concerned because you see what's happening around you still, and you're wondering, oh my God, am I next? What can I do? How can I improve my chances of not being a victim to this thing? So that's what the show is about today. I want you to go ahead and please let everybody know that they need to be tuned into this show today. I said on the show yesterday that, because Wednesday, a lot of people, aren't on your own when it comes to Wellness Wednesdays, but this show is different in that it's dealing with that's very, very important. Not to say that other health issues aren't important, but there are a lot of people who are going to find themselves in this category. And you need to know what you can do to try to give your body a fighting chance. So that's what this show is about today. I want you to go ahead and please let everybody know that we're on the air and this is a show that they need to tune into today. How do you do that? Well, we're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Also streaming live on our YouTube channels. You can find us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974. You can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. You can call into the show, 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 242-801-0271, 242-801-0271. And of course, there is radio. Huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Whether you are listening here in New Providence or Grand Bahama or the family of islands, and a special welcome to all of you who are tuned in from outside the country. So, again, I need you to help us get this information out. Like and share the show, because if you were part of the audience yesterday, you realize now that some of you are in trouble. The thing with this thing is we don't know who, we don't know when, we don't know who's next. But if you look at what is happening around us and around the world, you know that all of these deaths and people just dropping down, and it can't be coincidence. And if you go back and watch the show yesterday, you will see where there has since been a lot of research done. The person speaking in the clips is a world-renowned, well-respected cardiologist and internist, who himself has testified before the U.S. Senate. And in the clips that I played, he was testifying before the equivalent of a European body, sounding the alarm and sending out the warning of what is already happening around us and what could possibly be next. So today's show, again, is if you are one of those people who decided to do the safe and effective medical procedure because you trusted the authorities and you now regret that, and you realize, maybe we get swing. I don't want you to lose hope. I don't want you to lose sleep at night worrying if you are next or if your loved one is next. This show today is designed to give you information as to what you can do to give your body a fighting chance. So this is a very, very important show today. Please like and share it. Let everybody know. Listen, you all need to be tuned in. Okay, so we know that at the center of the global phenomenon, there was this virus that was spreading, and everybody in the world by now um, knows what a spike protein is. Spike protein being a major feature of the virus, and also being a major feature of the safe and effective medical procedure. Now, what a mad scientist decided to do, I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but just in case somebody's been living under a rock for the last 3 years, what they decided to do is they decided to manipulate your body's DNA so that your body could continuously produce, with science called mRNA, the spike protein, so that it would recognize it if it ever came across it again, and you would be protected. This was the concept behind the safe and effective medical procedure. The challenge is, unlike other injections for other conditions in the past, this was brand new technology. And they told you at the very beginning, this is experimental. We don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to try this anyway. We're going to get your own body to continue to produce the spike protein. We don't know for how long. But once you get this safe and effective medical procedure, then, whenever your body comes across this spike protein again, it won't react because your body's already going to be producing the spike protein. Well, that got to be the stupidest theory in the world, especially if you don't know how to turn it off. Because the spike protein is the problematic part of the virus. So, why in the world would you, as a mad scientist, come up with the concept that I'm going to get your body to continue to produce the very thing that was the problem from the virus itself? And I don't know how long it could produce it. It could be a month, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be forever and ever. Amen. But this is what they decided to do. Then they came up with a narrative that, once you got this safe and effective procedure done, that the spike protein that they were injecting into you would stay in the generalized area of wherever the injection took place. So it wasn't supposed to go no further than your arm. So they said. Again, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because I don't know why they thought that would have stayed in one place. And if you watch yesterday's show, you realize maybe they didn't think that, but they just convinced you of that. So now they find in this spike protein all throughout the body. You're going to hear about it somewhere on the show today. They're finding it in breast milk. So now it's impacting babies that are breastfed. They're finding it in reproductive organs, men's testicles, women's ovaries, etc. So now there are questions as to whether or not it's going to impact fertility down the road. They're finding it in the gut. They're finding it in the brain. It's throughout the body. And they don't know if your body will continue to produce these things from now until eternity. They don't know. So what do you do? Well, this show is designed today to give you some kind of fighting chance. And I guess in some ways, like the safe and effective medical procedure, we don't actually know how effective this will be, but it's worth a try. because you just can't do nothing. You got to do something. So the show today is going to be sharing information with you about what you can do from an holistic standpoint of view. Now, there's going to be a little information as well as to some things that you can do from a pharmaceutical standpoint. And the thing is, early on during the global phenomenon, there were some doctors who were pushing for these very pharmaceuticals to be used because they found that when they used them on their patients, they were getting excellent results. But yet, the global syndicate suppressed that information and actually stood in their way of providing early intervention treatment. That was all revealed on the show yesterday by a doctor. So the good thing is that there's research now that those interventions still work. And now that the truth has come out, and we now know that the syndicate knew ahead of time, in many ways, what they were doing. And now we are understanding that they actually were stopping doctors and deceiving doctors and actually standing in their way of providing early treatment. The good thing is some of those pharmaceutical treatments are still effective. So we're going to deal with the handful that are, as well as what you can do from an holistic standpoint of view. So you won't say this show is biased towards nutrition, because you'll know I'm big on holistic nutrition. But this show will cover both. So first things first, what we need to understand is what that spike protein is doing to your body. So this first clip, it's going to discuss the spike protein and the effects of it on the body. And here we go.
The spike protein is capable of causing widespread damage to the heart and cardiovascular system. If your body has been instructed to make this protein, then it's potentially a big problem. Therefore, finding a way to help deal with this is of the utmost importance. This one is for all of the people who had the virus and still experience symptoms which continue to persist to this day. Likewise, it's also for those of you who were coerced into getting a safe and effective medical procedure, but are now dealing with the consequences. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have some solutions that you can try. So by now, there are multiple studies which have found that people with the post-viral syndrome experience thickness of the blood and widespread blood clotting. It's now known that these tiny microclots which form in the blood vessels all throughout the body are caused by the spike protein. Ultimately, what spike does is alters the composition of the blood and triggers widespread vascular inflammation. Now, if the body can't break down these clots through a process called fibrinolysis, then the cells can't get enough oxygen. You see, oxygen transfer becomes impaired and cells become hypoxic. If cells don't have enough oxygen, they lose the ability to make energy and eventually die. And for those of you who are wondering, this is the same spike protein which the body makes after receiving a certain medical procedure. For those of you who've had this, it's unknown whether the body will make it for months, years, or perhaps indefinitely. No one really knows. What we do know is that widespread blood clotting and a lack of cellular oxygen can potentially help to explain most, if not all, of the symptoms which are associated with this medical procedure, along with the post-viral syndrome. It might make you feel breathless because your body detects low oxygen. In the brain, it might trigger brain fog, dizziness, or autonomic nervous system problems. In the muscles, it might cause fatigue or pain. Put simply, all of this can be explained by a lack of cellular oxygen and an impairment of energy metabolism. In my opinion, you've got a couple of aims. One is to reduce the likelihood of blood clotting and improving circulation. Secondly, reducing vascular inflammation. And thirdly, improving oxygen uptake into cells and improving energy metabolism.
Okay, so that's what we need to do to try to minimize the impact of the spike protein, which if you got the mRNA solution, the safe and effective procedure, your body is now producing indefinitely. We don't know for how long. So there are ways that you can deal with this, and we're going to talk about that in detail today. Ironically, I was already planning to do the show I did yesterday when a doctor sent me some information about a spike detox procedure. There's actually a terminology now called spikopathy, because around the world, I hope I pronounced that right, they are seeing so much of this, such an increase, that they have now developed a term for it. And doctors around the world now, doctors and scientists, are now scrambling, trying to figure out how to help their patients to deal with this. As was revealed in the show yesterday, there were really two rounds of injury, two layers or two waves, as Dr. McCullough put it, of injury. The first was the global phenomenon itself, which injured people's bodies, and in some cases, for those who were already not well, took their lives. That was the first wave of injury. And now the second wave of injury seems to be from the safe and effective medical procedure. That, they are finding now, scientifically proven, is causing just as much and maybe more harm than the actual global event itself. And again, remember now, we don't know how long your body is going to be producing this spike protein. So people all over the world now are coming down with these weird symptoms of these strange, rare diseases. Some are just dropping down dead. Others are all of a sudden battling with these aggressive forms of cancer and other autoimmune diseases. Young people, middle age, old, are being impacted by this. We're seeing it happen around the world. So on the show today, more information is coming forward about what you can do to give yourself a fighting chance. I want to say this. Your body is incredibly intelligent, and your body in many ways is able to adapt to situations sometimes. If you are healthy and if you have a very strong, healthy immune system, you'd be amazed at what your body can do, even though it is now believed to be and scientifically proven to be that this global condition was somehow manipulated by mankind. In other words, this was not a naturally occurring condition. This was manipulated in a lab. It's now been scientifically proven. And so they manipulated this thing so it could be as damaging as possible. But yet, for some people whose immune system is healthy, their bodies were still able to deal with it. Their immune system was still able to deal with it. So we're going to be teaching you some things today on how to get your immune system, give it as much of a fighting chance as possible. Because what the safe and effective medical procedure did was it confused your immune system. And so now we got to figure out how to unconfuse it. I know that's not a word, but you get what I'm trying to say. And that's what the show is about today. There is hope. but you cannot stand by and not do anything. Look around you, people. Left, right, and center. People just dropping down. So let's look at this. We're going to take this commercial break. On the other side of the break, we're going to look at 2 supplements that you can take that actually destroy spike protein. Now, if your body is constantly producing it, then you gotta, always be in a war against it. But at least you will have something that can help you to fight. So this is what we're going to be talking about after the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fix and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And we're back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company on this Wellness Wednesday. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 242-801-0271, 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Please like and share the show. Get everybody on here, especially if you know anybody who took the safe and effective medical procedure over the last couple of years. Also streaming live on YouTube, on the official channels, and you can find us on Cable Bahamas channel 974. You can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. Huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio, whether from New Providence, Grand Bahama, our family of islands, and outside the Bahamas. Welcome to you all. So if you're here today and you weren't there yesterday, please go back and watch the show from yesterday. That is part one. This is part two. Part one was telling you about the scientific proof and evidence they now have in terms of the global phenomenon and how there was this international syndicate made up of some of the major health organizations and personalities, etc., around the world, who were hell-bent on pushing false narratives to get you to take the safe and effective medical procedure. And now evidence shows that not only was that procedure not safe and not effective, but it is now causing death and serious injury around the world. So the show today is part two, dedicated to showing you, telling you what you can do if you were one of the persons, or if you know someone who took the safe and effective medical procedure. There is something you can do to give your body a fighting chance. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So in this next clip, we're going to be talking about 2 supplements that destroy the spike protein. Remember now, the spike protein is the dangerous part of the virus, and yet the mad scientists decided to manipulate your body so it could continue to produce the very thing that was causing death and injury. Yeah, pretty stupid. Anyway, here is a clip with regard to 2 supplements that you can take that actually destroy spike protein. Take a listen to this.
These 2 supplements destroy spike protein. So there's an older study floating around Twitter at the moment, and it's looking at 2 natural supplements which were shown to completely inactivate spike protein. Now, this might not be news to many, and it has been around a couple of years, but we're going to look at exactly what those are. So quickly, just for those who don't know, spike protein is the component of the virus, which is now known to be the main driver of inflammation. Now, spike is also the protein which the body gets instructed to make copious amounts of when they get shot with the thing. And you know what I'm talking about. And exactly how long the body makes spike protein for after being shot with the thing, well, no one really knows, but it seems to be a long time. And as you probably already know, spike protein is thought to be one of the main things responsible for triggering many of the adverse events associated with the thing, ranging from thickening of the blood, vascular inflammation, neuroinflammation, and other cardiac events. Spike protein sticking around the body for a long period of time is also thought to drive long haul syndrome, which even a few years on, many people are still dealing with whether they got the thing or not. Therefore, finding ways to get rid of, inactivate, or destroy spike protein could potentially be super helpful in anyone suffering long-term adverse events. And that brings us to this study circulating on Twitter, which is titled, "The combination of bromelain and acetylcysteine synergistically inactivates SARS-CoV-2." For those unaware, bromelain is an enzyme found in pineapple, and NAC is an amino acid, both of which can be obtained in supplemental form. Looking at exactly what this paper said, recombinant spike and envelope SARS-CoV-2 proteins were disrupted by acetylcysteine. SARS-CoV-2 demonstrated a concentration-dependent inactivation from this treatment, but not from single agents alone. So essentially what they found was that this combination could degrade and inactivate spike protein, which is responsible for triggering systemic inflammation and causing many adverse events. Now, this is frankly huge because this might help to explain why many people with long haul syndrome also find benefits from these supplements. Now, since this was an in vitro study, I don't know how this would translate in terms of dosages, but common dosages for NAC range from 600 to 1,800 milligrams, and bromelain can be used or has been used in the viral disease, and this is 500 milligrams per day.
So, we're going to be providing you with lots of information, like I said, both in terms of holistic approach as well as a couple of pharmaceutical approaches that you can use to try to give yourself a fighting chance. And ironically, doctors try to convince the syndicate that the way to treat the disease early on was with these pharmaceuticals, and they actually refused to listen and actually stood in the way of doctors using these treatments, even though many doctors who decided to defy them found that they were having really good results with their patients who they put on them. One of the doctors lives right here in the Bahamas, Dr. Kevin Bethel, from Optimist Bahamas out of Grand Bahama. He and his own wife contracted the condition and treated themselves. And he treated other patients with the pharmaceuticals, and they were well. They became better. And yet, when he tried to share his findings, he was pretty much told to shut up. We're not trying to hear you. And if you go public with this, we're going to cut you off. And unfortunately, this is what doctors were being told around the world. As I would have said during the show yesterday, if you decided to try the safe and effective treatment as a result of your doctor's advice, don't hold it against your doctor, because they too, we learned yesterday, were misled and lied to. And the few of them who were aware enough to stand up and say, no, wait a minute, they were under serious threat by the syndicate. So don't blame your doctor, because as you will learn by watching yesterday's show, they got swing as well. I hate to put it that way. But they did find those who decided not to follow the advice of the syndicate, that there were other treatment options available that could help people who came down with the condition. But yet, the syndicate insisted that you do nothing for your patients. And for those who had the condition, I'm one of them. You go, they say, this is positive. You have the condition. What is the treatment option? Go home. And if by chance you get sick enough, then go to the hospital. Don't go to the clinic, go to the hospital. But go home. We ain't got no options for you. Just go home. Now, for some of us, we decided to do some things holistically and knock that thing out within days without the safe and effective medical treatment. And we are just fine. For others, they became very, very, very ill. Some didn't make it. Still others ended up with what's called long, you know what, where months and months and months later, they still battling this thing. Now, my theory was always, as opposed to criminalizing healthy people and making it almost impossible for them to stand and not take your safe and effective medical treatment, Why not study those people to find out what it is about their bodies and their immune system that gave them the ability to fight that thing off and come out on the other side? Why not study them? Why not try to figure out what was happening in their bodies that wasn't happening in the bodies of the people who did not do so well, or who had been fighting this thing for months, or who found themselves having to be hospitalized? Millions of them didn't make it. But no, instead, they decided to almost criminalize healthy people. Meanwhile, doctors, a handful of them, scientists, a handful of them, were saying, no, man, we could do more for these people. Why aren't you allowing us to do more for these people? A friend of mine lives in Puerto Rico. And when he came down with COVID, I said to him at the onset, I said, I can see if I can get you some ivermectin. He says, oh, Michelle, they won't let the ivermectin in the country. I said, what you say? He said, they have made it impossible for us to use ivermectin. They have banned it from the country. And anybody caught trying to bring it in would be in problems with the health authorities. I said, wow. Ivermectin was one of the pharmaceuticals that was found to be very, very effective in dealing with the condition early on. Doctors will tell you that they used it on their patients and it worked wonders. And ivermectin, for those of you who don't know, was a medication that was already approved for another condition. So it was already on the market. It wasn't experimental like their safe and effective procedure. But yet, they tried to stop people from taking it, tried to stop doctors from giving it to their patients. Unbelievable. So now that we are on the other side, now that all this evidence is coming out, now that we know the skullduggery of the syndicate, that they knew all along what the statistics would look like, and they knew all along what the adverse reactions would be, and they tried to hide it from everybody. And thank God for the judge who said, no, you ain't gonna hide this. We all gonna know exactly what y'all was up to, because they wanted to hide it for 75 years. And the judge said, no, we want to know now. So now that we know, many people, unfortunately, are living in fear right now. Some in denial still. They still ain't figured out yet what's going on all around them. They still in denial. But other people are starting to question, oh my God, what is going on? So what we're going to do here now, we're going to be giving you some solutions as to some of the things that you can do to try to give your body a fighting chance against this thing if you did trust the authorities. So in this next clip, we are going to learn of an enzyme that actually destroys spike protein, an enzyme. So go ahead and listen to this.
As it happens, there is another natural agent which can also degrade spike protein. This is a different enzyme produced by certain bacteria known as nattokinase. A recent study in the summer of 2022 was titled Degradative Effects of Nattokinase on Spike Protein of SARS-CoV-2. They go on to say, in this study, we examined the effect of nattokinase on the spike protein of this virus. The spike protein was degraded in a dose and time-dependent manner. Thus, our findings suggest that nattokinase exhibits potential for the inhibition of SARS-CoV-2 infection via spike protein degradation. Now, although the study was looking at this in the context of infection, it might also be super useful for anyone with long haul or adverse events from the thing. It turns out nattokinase is a super useful proteolytic enzyme which can also prevent clotting and vascular complications and has been used for lots of other kinds of problems. As for the dose of nattokinase, I'm not sure exactly how much one would need. There's lots of different doses available. What I do know is that there's many practitioners using this for long haul syndrome. What's also important is using an enteric form because it can be destroyed by the stomach acid. So to round up, if I personally had the thing, I would certainly be looking to take these 3 supplements. Now, it's not necessarily going to stop the body from making spike protein, but it might potentially help the body to get rid of it, to destroy it, to inactivate it, and to reduce its detrimental effects.
Now, you notice he said might, possibly, because we don't know. We don't know, because remember now, they told you all this thing was experimental. Never been done before. So, whereas doctors and scientists around the world now are trying to come up with a protocol to help people who have now what is called spikopathy, actually come up with the terminology where they're seeing so much of it. We are only hopeful that based on the way that these natural supplements and enzymes have treated conditions in the past, that they will be able to help you to get through this. But we don't know. We don't know how long your body's going to be producing this thing. We don't know how long that impact is going to last. So all we can do, and at least we're being honest about it, unlike the syndicate, is say, listen, man, we've seen this have positive impacts on other conditions similar to this one. So it should be able to help you here as well. Something is better than nothing when it comes to trying to deal with these problems. A couple of comments on Facebook. Let's read a couple of them. Let's see. Quite a few of them actually came in. Somebody said, that's sad and should tell us who our government is loyal. Child, governments around the world. This ain't a Bahamian thing. This is a global phenomenon. Okay. Claudette says, I caught the first wave of the thing. I was terribly, terribly sick and was treated by my doctor and got well. I never left my home. I was treated holistically, thank God. Maria says, I can't excuse doctors who gave it to pregnant women. Pregnant women should take nothing unless absolutely necessary. So to give them an experiment is inexcusable. Again, Claudette says, my friend caught it, went to hospital. They sent her home 2 days after she was gone. No more in the land of the living. Shake my head. And Maria says, I was stuck in Tennessee with the condition. I was able to get I guess she meant prescription for ivermectin, but no regular pharmacy would fill it. I had to find a place that would compound it for me. Yeah, they were trying to stop people from taking ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And meanwhile, doctors who dared to defy them were getting wonderful results with their clients. But yet the syndicate was making it very difficult, if not impossible, for people to be treated with that, because they were pushing this safe and effective procedure that now we know was neither safe nor effective. Because remember now, the first thing they told us in the false narrative was that you only needed the 1 dose and all will be well. And then that turned to 2 doses. And then that turned to 3 doses. And each time you get another dose, you encouraging your body to continue to produce this spike protein. So even if it was only going to produce it for, say, 6 months and then stop. You go back and you get another one, it starts the cycle all over again. So every time you got a booster, you were starting that cycle all over again. And no wonder so many people suffered from what is called a cytokine storm, because you just keep introducing this thing to your body. So this is the challenge that we now face. The people are getting sick or staying sick for a very long time, some with debilitating rare diseases, some just passing out, some heart conditions, you name it. Others just dying in their sleep, others just dropping down. This is what is now facing the world. I, again, don't want to be fear-mongering. So this show today is not designed to put fear into you, but to give you hope. Because through this show, we're looking to give you some options, some things that you can do to try to rid your body of this spike protein. Or if not completely, at least getting rid of it sufficiently that you're giving your body something to fight with, even though you may have to continue to do this again and again and again. If I have to choose between taking a booster shot every 6 months and taking nutrition on a regular basis, I go in with the nutrition. Because the nutrition, unlike the booster, doesn't have those horrific side effects. But there's no doubt that when you keep going back for the safe and effective medical procedure every single time you do that, you're setting yourself up to become ill or even die. So, again, we're providing you with options today. I want you to please like and share the show, especially if you or a loved one, and that's most of us, has taken the safe and effective medical procedure. A lot of my family members took it. And I tried very much to warn them, and they just wasn't trying to hear me. A lot of y'all took it. And even though we tried to warn y'all wasn't trying to hear us. Because the syndicate did a very, very good job at putting fear into people. And people, out of fear, did what they wanted them to do. So don't blame yourself if you fell for the trap. Millions of people did. Now the question is, what do you do about it? Now that we know that the syndicate was being less than honest, now what do you do about it? And that's what we're talking about today. So let's take this break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about steps that you need to take to rid the body of that spike protein. And then a little later on, we're talking about specific things that you can do to address specific conditions that result from the safe and effective procedure, like those horribly long blood clots that we're seeing now, that they're finding in people who had the shot. We're going to talk about how you can holistically get rid of clots. That and more. But first, this break. So let's take a commercial break. On the other side, we'll continue with this Wellness Wednesday informative show on what you can do to protect yourself if you went ahead with a safe and effective medical procedure. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. In your company on this Wednesday, we're talking about what you can do to help your body to fight if you, in fact, took the safe and effective medical procedure that the World Syndicate was pushing on everybody, and now you're concerned about how that's affecting your body or could potentially affect your body going down the road. So we're going to give you some real-time solutions as to what you can do to give yourself a fighting chance. The numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 8010271. That's 242-801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM Facebook pages. You can also check us out on our YouTube channels. And you can check us out on Cable Bahamas channel 974. There is an app, Global 99.5 FM, and you can download that to your smart device and check us out there. And last but by no means least, tune in by way of radio 99.5 on the FM dial here in New Providence. Huge welcome to all of you listening in by way of radio, whether it's here in New Providence, Grand Bahama, throughout the islands of the Bahamas, and those of you who are tuned in from around the world. So if you haven't already done so, I need you to help me to get this information out. Like and share the show, please. And in case you missed yesterday's show, I want you to go back and watch that, because that served as part 1 to this show, which is part 2. And part 1 was providing you with the scientific evidence now, as presented by a world-renowned cardiologist and internist, Dr. Peter McCullough, who was actually in the clips yesterday testifying before a board of legislative persons within Europe, as he did in the United States. So check that out if you haven't already done so. Like and share that show. Like and share this show, because today, as promised yesterday, we are looking at providing you with information as to what you can do if you're one of those people who doggone took that thing. And there are a lot of you out there. So what do? There are some steps that you can take that can help to rid the body of the spike protein. Now, again, we don't know how long your body's going to be producing that. We just don't know. So it makes sense to me that if you could find a way to try to get rid of some of it, then I would do whatever I needed to do, especially if your body's going to continue to produce it. You got to give your body a fighting chance. So I would be changing up the way I do things, so that, my body could start to rid itself of some of this stuff, so it doesn't just continue to pile up and then lead to a serious health problem. So what can you do to get rid of the spike protein? Well, I thought you'd never ask. Let's listen to this.
As proof of concept, it just so happens that there is evidence showing anticoagulant triple therapy can be effective at resolving the persistent symptoms associated with people with the post-viral syndrome. And it turns out there are a few natural solutions which might be able to achieve this effect. As a priority, I think you want to try and degrade or get rid of spike protein as quickly as possible. The main reason for this is because it is the initial trigger that's causing all of the downstream problems. Secondly, you want to do what you can to improve blood circulation and vascular function. So 2 things that you might be able to do for this. First is a combination of an amino acid called arginine and vitamin C. When used in combination, they can be very effective at increasing the levels of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the body's main vasodilator, and this is thought to be the mechanism of action. They also have many other positive benefits. In fact, there have been many studies looking at the effect of arginine on the viral infection and also post-viral syndrome. Additionally, you might want to consider using a medicinal herb called ginkgo biloba. This has long been known to improve circulation, particularly blood flow to the brain, and is therefore thought to be very useful where there is problems with getting enough blood around the body. Not only has this herb been used for the infection itself, but it's also been shown to resolve the cognitive deficits associated with the post-viral syndrome. The recommended dose is listed here, and when used in conjunction with arginine and vitamin C, it could prove to be very useful. That said, anything else which improves vascular function and circulation could also come in handy. First thing that comes to mind is far infrared sauna. Finally, another priority should be to improve cellular uptake of oxygen and cellular utilization of oxygen. For this, there are 2 B vitamins which could really come in handy. The first is niacin, also known as vitamin B3. Now, over the past 3 years or so, niacin has gained a lot of research attention in this field, primarily because it was shown that the virus could deplete active forms of niacin inside the cell. Of course, niacin has also been used to improve blood flow and prevent thrombosis, blood clotting, in numerous studies, and for this purpose, it's an excellent addition to any protocol. Ultimately, any form will do, although I would probably recommend a combination of the flush version of niacin, maybe at this dose, and an active form of niacin such as nicotinamide riboside or nicotinamide mononucleotide, and you could try it around this dose.
Okay. For those of you listening by web radio, I'd like to encourage you to please go back and watch the show either on YouTube or on Facebook, because he often says this dose, and obviously you can't see that on radio. I have to tell you guys about niacin. Niacin eats blood clots. That's that's a very crude way of saying what niacin does in the body. But how do I know this? Because niacin is one of the things that we recommend when we find people who are suffering from conditions that have led to clogged arteries. And like, for instance, people who are suffering from kidney failure, end-stage kidney disease. Now, you would have heard me talk before about a client that I had who was already in the end stage of kidney disease, on dialysis, and had already had a date set for her kidney replacement surgery. And somebody recommended that she give the holistic approach a try. Long story short, we put on a regimen, and within 4 weeks, her surgery was canceled and she was off of dialysis. And a major part of that regimen was niacin, because what niacin does is it eats blood clots, but it also helps to unclog arteries. Unclog. And what Dr. Wallach often says is, when you have a condition like kidney disease, oftentimes the kidneys are fine. The only problem is the dirty blood can't get to them because of the clogging, so the kidneys stop working. And because the medical doctors don't know how to unclog, they put you on dialysis, and they say your only hope is to get kidney replacement, when we know that all you got to do is unclog the clogged, the clogged pathway. And once you do that, the blood starts to flow again. And once the blood starts to flow again, the kidneys spring back into action. So I have personally seen niacin work wonders for people who have any kind of blockage issue, blood flow issue, and especially people with blood clots. Now, that is natural occurring blood clots. This is synthetically introduced blood clots that we're talking about today. However, there's still a very strong possibility that niacin will be as effective on those blood clots as it is on naturally occurring blood clots. It's worth a try. And so I can personally attest, based on my experience with using niacin as a part of protocols to help people get their blood flowing more easily, how effective niacin is. We also have something that we, in addition to the niacin, we put our clients on. We call it cardio sticks, and that helps with blood flow as well. And the combination between the two of them works wonders. And oftentimes, what happens is, when we first put our clients on this, the first thing they come back and they say, "Miss Malcolm, I feel this," especially the kidney patients. "Miss Malcolm, I'm feeling this weird sensation in my back." I said, describe the sensation. It's like a pulsing sensation. It's almost like a little pain and pulsing. I said, because that's everything opening up. All that clogged stuff is becoming unclogged, so you're going to feel it. And so they usually experience that for the first week, first 2 weeks. And then after that, they start to urinate more. And then after that, they're urinating regularly and their numbers are dropping, and doctors are saying to them, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And then after that, next thing you know, their numbers are to the point where they can actually stop with the dialysis and don't need kidney replacement anymore. I have seen it. And I tell you, no theory would I've read or no video would I've watched. I have seen it happen with my own clients. So niacin could be a very effective tool in trying to help people who now find themselves with these unusual blood clots that are occurring because of that spike protein. Because I'm sure we've all seen videos of those long blood clots that they pull in other people now. Particularly, we've seen some videos that have been put out by some funeral embalmers, funeral homes, and they're like, we have never seen anything like this. We've heard of cases of people who all of a sudden they just have this blockage and the doctors can't figure out what's causing the blockage, and but that niacin is very, very effective, and in combination with the products that we call cardio sticks, we see wonders happen. We see miracles happen. So again, it's worth a try, because your other alternative is to do nothing and just hope and pray that you ain't one of the ones who all of a sudden drop down. And the thing with this is, you just don't know how long it's going to take before your body gets to the point where your body says, I can't do this anymore. And many of the people who have found themselves dead or harmed for life, their bodies just gave out, say, man, I can't do this no more. Because they're constantly producing this thing that is causing these reactions. And without doing anything to try to offset that, your body gets to the point where it says, I can't do this anymore. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to give you information that you can use that will help your body to fight. That's the goal of today's show. And this is a developing thing because this is brand new to the world. This technology that they used and the way that they used it and the safe and effective procedure has never been done before. And they told you they was experimenting on you. So this is a developing protocol now that doctors and scientists are trying to come up with to try to figure out how to get your body, give your body something to fight with. So this is like a learning curve as we go through this, just trying to figure out, okay, this works under normal circumstances, so maybe it'll work under these conditions as well. It's worth a try. It's worth a try, because, what are you going to do? Sit back and do nothing? That is not an option. Okay, so let's continue now to look at what you can do in terms of how to give your body something to fight with. Here now is more information on niacin and its impact on blood clots.
Finally, we get to my favorite, which is vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. So what does this do? It's involved in how cells are generating energy. It's involved in how cells are uptaking oxygen, and it can improve oxygen utilization. Like niacin, this B vitamin has also received quite a lot of attention over the past 3 years. It's been used in critical illness ICU patients, suffering from the virus, and also to prevent thrombosis. It plays lots of useful roles, and I think it's highly overlooked and underacknowledged. Anecdotally, there are many in the post-viral syndrome community who have found much benefit from taking this B vitamin, particularly when it comes to the neurological type symptoms, breathlessness, and fatigue. The recommended form to use is one which gets into the brain, so this would be either TTFD, which you can find here, or alternatively benfotiamine. So to round up, if this stuff applies to you, the main goal should be to try to degrade spike protein, try to improve blood circulation and vascular function, and try your best to improve oxygen utilization and uptake by the cell.
Okay, that's the goal. That's the goal, to try to reduce the spike protein, as he would have just described. That's the goal. Now, there is another area that the spike protein impacts, and that is gut health. It impacts your gut microbiome. Scientifically proven. Now, why is this concerning? Well, if you are a regular here, you know by now that your gut is where most of your immune system is. Up to 80% of your immune system is in the gut. So if this thing impacts gut health, and you are already doing something to damage your gut, it don't take a genius to figure out that you're going to have a problem. One of the things that Dr. Wallach, y'all know, those of us who were trained by the Institute of Holistic Health or trained under the protocols of Dr. Joel Wallach. And for years, Dr. Wallach has been sounding the alarm about the importance of gut health to fight the condition. And one of the things that he talked about for the past couple of years that people were dismissing what he was saying is that if you compare the countries where there's high consumption of gluten, wheat, barley, rye, and oats, compared to countries where there's low consumption of gluten, the countries where there's low consumption of gluten did far better statistically with the condition. In other words, they had far less people die from the condition, or far less people hospitalized from the condition, from places or countries where there's a high consumption of gluten. So in other words, countries like Italy, where everything they eat is full of pasta, a lot of grains, etc. India, they eat a lot of gluten there. United States, a lot of gluten. They did not do as well in countries that their population didn't eat a lot of gluten. This is why in many African countries, their people did far better than people in the West, because quite frankly, in the African countries, their people couldn't afford to buy gluten in their foods. So they were living off of other foods, other whole foods that they themselves were able to harvest. Now, why is gluten important in this conversation? Because gluten destroys the gut. I've said it before on this very show. Try to warn you all about eating gluten and what it's doing to your gut. It's damaging your gut. Why? Gluten is a daisy-chained amino acid protein that, because your body can't break it apart to digest it properly, it enters, it gets past the stomach, and enters into your intestines intact, and it's rumbling through there, and it's destroying the very apparatus that is responsible for absorbing nutrients into your bloodstream. And by destroying that, it is also causing things to be able to get into your bloodstream that aren't supposed to be there. This is called leaky gut syndrome. And then your immune system, it starts to overreact because it's seeing all these foreign things in your bloodstream, and it starts to go to war, and your body starts to attack itself. So you end up with an autoimmune condition. And autoimmune conditions are prevalent as one of the signs or one of the symptoms of persons who are suffering long, from the condition, or people who have just been taken out by it or been seriously injured by it. A lot of it is relative to your gut health. So when you hear sounding the alarm about you eating that piece of bread, eating that twist, eating that tart, eating a sandwich made with regular wheat flour, drinking that beer made from hops, which is barley, drinking that malt made from hops, which is barley. We've been sounding the alarm. We've been warning you for the longest time. You damaging your gut. But you only want to hear that because you like bread. So while you've been eating this gluten, you've been damaging your gut. And then comes along the global condition and the spike protein attacking the gut even more. And this is leading to some serious disease and illness. So I never taste no bread would taste that good to be worth me facing that. I said to one of my clients before, when she first started with me, her numbers were horrible. And we got her numbers to turn around, and she started to do better. And she came to me one day and she said, Ms. Malcolm, it ain't you. I just want to eat my bread. I said, please introduce me to our baker. She said, what you mean? I said, I never eat no bread that tastes that good. For as sick as you were, for you to decide that you'd rather be that sick again because you like bread, then all you got to do is switch out the flour. Please introduce me to your baker, because I want to know what they put in that bread would make that worth you dying over. It ain't worth it, people. It's not worth it. You having an autoimmune disease that's going to weaken your body. And then when this condition comes along, now you really in trouble because you ain't got nothing to fight with. And that's why many people died. Many of the people who died already had 4 and 5 different comorbidities. They already had all these other conditions. And all that thing did was push them over the edge. They were already on the edge. But you like tart, and you like cake, and you ain't willing to take the time to make it with a gluten-free flour, because it ain't existent. It's not like, say, 10 years ago when you didn't have options. Now you got options. But some of you are so stubborn. You ain't willing to make the change. And because you ain't willing to make that change, some of y'all now in serious trouble, because the spike protein destroys your gut microbiome. Serious thing. So let me play one clip about what that spike protein is doing to your gut health before we go to this break. And then after the break, we're going to talk about what you could possibly do to restore the microbiome and other things that you can do. So here now is one more video about how the spike protein affects your gut health.
The bifidobacteria, this important microbe, is dropping in patients pre and post vaccination. So then I started like asking myself, wait a minute, what's going on here?
World-renowned microbiome researcher Dr. Sabine Hassan has published some deeply concerning research on how spike protein affects the gut microbiome. Her research provides precious insight into why many people may experience severe decline in gut health after getting shot with the mRNA, and for many people this still persists to this day.
The bifidobacteria, this important microbe, is dropping in patients pre and post vaccination. So then I started like asking myself, wait a minute, what's going on here? What we noticed is in 4 patients that we followed, which were amazing shape, you know, we followed them for 90 days, and then next thing you know, their bifidobacteria dropped to like 0, from like 1 million to like 0. So it kept persisting. So there was a persistence in the damage, and not only 90 days, but 6 months, 9 months later.
So for those who don't know, bifidobacteria is one of the key species of microbes which populate the human gut. They're one of the first to colonize the GI tract of the newborn infant and play central roles in building the immune system and contributing to overall health. Gut dysbiosis featuring low bifidobacteria is associated with a vast array of health problems, ranging from obesity, psychiatric conditions, autoimmunity, and even cancer.
You've got your microbiome this way before, and you've got it after, and it's the same patient, and only a certain group of microbes are getting killed. You got to pay attention. You know, 10, 20, 30, 34 patients later, we're seeing this, you know, killing of the bifidobacteria.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it turns out that babies are also affected. These are babies who have not had the jab. They've not been shot with the mRNA, but they are showing low bifidobacteria levels. In fact, some have 0 bifidobacteria simply because they've been breastfeeding of mothers who had the shot. As it happens, mRNA was indeed found in breast milk after receiving the shot. And we can speculate that since the body makes spike protein potentially indefinitely in some people after having the shot, then this could be going into the breast milk on an ongoing basis.
And then as we were looking at the microbiome of newborns to mothers who were breastfeeding, we started noticing that there's no bifidobacteria in those newborns. So we asked ourselves, well, I mean, because newborns are supposed to have a ton of bifidobacteria, right? 90% of the microbiome of babies is bifidobacteria. So we said, well, how come these babies born to moms that are breastfeeding that were vaccinated have 0 bifidobacteria? Is the spike protein going to the breast milk, into the baby's gut, and killing whatever the baby's trying to build?
Her team also found striking correlations between bifidobacteria levels and the severity of infection. She believes that bifidobacteria is so essential to help the body protect against inflammation because it essentially sucks it up into the gut from the body, getting rid of all those inflammatory cytokines and carries them into the toilet. Now, at this point, it's important to bear in mind that there is research showing that people who didn't get the shot but just got the viral infection, their microbiome also seems to have changed to some extent. So this depletion of certain microbes, beneficial microbes such as bifidobacteria, may also be applicable for people who have long viral syndrome or post-viral syndrome and who didn't actually get the vaccine.
So, translation, if you are one of those people who are having a hard time getting rid of this thing, then maybe you just need to take better care of your gut. Because if the spike protein is attacking the microbiome in your gut, then the last thing you need to be doing is further damaging your gut to begin with. And so this is why, again, Dr. Wallach has recommended that people stop eating gluten, because that gluten is damaging your gut. And once your gut is damaged, then you are opening yourself up to all forms of autoimmune illnesses, whether it is an overactive immune system, meaning conditions like thyroid conditions or um, things like arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, um, alopecia, where where your immune system is overreacting and your body's attacking itself, or it could be affecting your immune system to the degree that your immune system underperforms. So now, all of a sudden, you're coming down with cancer. And I'm sure, and that's just one of the conditions that could result from an underactive immune system. It confuses the immune system. So either it goes nuts or it doesn't perform as well as it should. Neither of them is good. Okay? So I'm sure y'all have heard of people all of a sudden, okay, this week and then next week, they go to the doctor and all of a sudden they got stage 4 cancer. There's a lot of that happening now. And it could very well be because they have been damaging their gut all along. Then along comes the spike protein, which damages it even more. And in their particular body, instead of being overactive, their immune system might have shut down to the point where it's underactive. And next thing you know, you have these aggressive forms of cancer. So, all that being said, I don't think it's worth it to eat that piece of tart. That's just me. I told you all before, my kryptonite is guava duff. I grew up eating some of the best guava duff on the planet. My late aunt, Patricia Clinton, God rest her soul. Oh my God. That woman used to put her foot in that duff. Oh my God, that duff used to be so good. But now I know that that thing was damaging my gut. I didn't know it then. I know it now. So as much as I love a good guava duff, I ain't touching that thing because I no longer see that as pleasure. I see that as something that's going to destroy my body. So unless I know that that has been made with some kind of gluten-free flour, no thanks. I can pass. There are options, people. I told you for my birthday, my cousin who does baking, Patricia Clinton's daughter, by the way, baked me this delicious birthday cake for my last birthday, gluten-free. And man, that thing was so good. I say, girl, you sitting on a gold mine. You know how much people will be paying you some serious money to still enjoy some of their favorite desserts without the gluten? You joking? You want me to be your manager? It's not worth it to continue to eat these foods that are damaging your body, especially if you took the safe and effective procedure. Because now your body churning out the spike protein, you don't know for how long. So to me, it just makes common sense that you don't do anything to add to the damage that that's doing by continuing to eat these foods that are damaging your body. You ain't got to be a genius to figure this out, people. And I've never, as good as my auntie Duff used to be, I never come across a Duff that's worth my health, my life. I ain't come across none yet. I ain't come across no bread that tastes that good yet. It's not worth it. So it's not just a matter of, oh, you're being, you're being ridiculous, girl. This one little piece of thing ain't gonna hurt you. Yeah, you keep eating it then. I can pass. You heard the man. Science is now showing that even if you just had the condition, it affected your gut microbiome. So even if you just had it and survived it, you still have to now rebuild your gut microbiome. Imagine if you took the safe and effective procedure and now your body keeps producing this protein, this spike protein. You better be doing something. to help heal your gut on a consistent basis. Otherwise, you setting yourself up for a problem. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Okay, I guess we lost that caller. We're going to take a break, and then you can call back if you so wish. On the other side of the break, we are going to be talking about steps you can take to restore your gut microbiome. And then we're going to talk about another procedure that is found to help to detox your body from this spike protein. And then finally, we're going to look at a 1, 2, 3, 4 protocol that you can follow, incorporating much of what you would have learned in this show about how to detox from the spike protein. So let's take this break. We'll be back with more information. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
All right, welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM on this Wellness Wednesday. We are talking about what you can do if you have a safe and effective procedure to try to help your body fight. Give your body something to fight with, child. It can need it, it can need it, it can need it. Okay, so prior to the break, we learned that the spike protein damages the gut microbiome. And if you are a fan of GPS, especially on a Wellness Wednesday, you would know by now that your immune system is mostly located in your gut. So if the spike protein is damaging your gut microbiome, and then on top of that, you eating foods and doing things to further damage it, it don't take a genius to figure out you're going to have a problem. So how do you now restore this gut microbiome? Is it even possible to do so? Well, I want you to listen to this.
So according to Dr. Hassan, it can be very difficult to replenish bifidobacteria once it's been lost. She's a specialist in this area and focuses on using fecal microbial transplants and claims that they can be very effective in certain people. I've also seen that she's recommended oral probiotics, vitamin D, and vitamin C. Now, unfortunately, FMT is not available for most people. So digging into the research, it seems that there are quite a few ways in which someone can try to boost their own bifidobacteria levels. First up, oral probiotics are probably a very good baseline. However, there is some confusion or speculation whether when you take live probiotics, if they even survive the stomach acid or not. The idea is they're meant to make their way all the way down into the large intestine, but they have to go all throughout the upper GI tract first, and there's a chance that they'll be degraded. I don't know whether that's necessarily true or not, but it does seem as though there's one potential solution to this that has been known for several years. This is using a different type of probiotic, not technically a live bacteria, but what is called a spore-forming probiotic. You may have heard of these. There are several companies who make these at the moment. Well-known ones are Bacillus coagulans, Bacillus subtilis, and essentially what they do is they remain in this spore form throughout the upper GI system until they get into the colon, where they open up and they start kind of proliferating. Now, what they do there is they effectively set the stage for other microbes to start growing. So they have been shown to improve the growth and colonization of bifidobacteria, although they're not directly providing bifidobacteria. Secondly, another way is to potentially bypass the upper GI system as a whole and go the back route. This is by using probiotic enemas. Now, there's not that much research on this. However, there have been a couple of interesting reports. There was one report using bifidobacteria in an enema to treat a condition called necrotizing enterocolitis. Likewise, lactobacilli has been used for ulcerative colitis, which is an inflammatory bowel disease. Again, with purportedly very good results. Now, I have recommended these in the past to people I've worked with, but in this video, I'm not going to recommend any recipe or anything like that. You can simply go online, just type in probiotic enema recipe. It gives you ideas how to make it, which probiotics to use, what other ingredients to use, and exactly how to do that. Finally, the research also shows that using prebiotic fibers, in other words, undigestible fibers, which can be used as a food source to promote the growth of certain microbes in the gut. These can be very useful for promoting the growth of bifidobacteria. Two things which come to mind are inulin and fructooligosaccharides. Other types of probiotic fibers, again, this is not my speciality, but there is a lot of information online about this. Here are a couple of studies which showed pretty substantial increase in bifido levels. And finally, it's unclear whether consuming fermented foods are going to enhance bifidobacteria or not. It's difficult to say, simply because it's difficult to know whether those foods contain bifidobacteria or not. Some people claim that they do, and yet when they're tested, they don't. Certain types of fermented milk products, such as kefir, they've been shown to increase the levels of bifidobacteria. But again, it would be finding the right brand and something that has been substantially tested to make sure that bifido is actually in there. And so, sorry, I can't be more specific on everything. Again, the microbiome isn't really my area of expertise. It's not really my area of research, but I find this fascinating. And this particular piece of information could very much help to explain some of the things that we're seeing among people who receive the shot and are dealing with the long-term consequences of that. They've not been able to regain their digestive health, and they're suffering systemic effects because of that right now, as we speak. So take a look into this information. I highly recommend looking into the work of Dr. Sabine Hassan. It's fascinating. Check out her research and go onto her website.
So you guys would have seen the commercial that plays repeatedly on this show for a product that we have at Longevity called Ultimate Microbiome. I swear by it because when I was quite ill, my gut had been severely damaged from being exposed to mold for years, well, almost 2 years. And then on top of that, I was still eating gluten. And so my gut was in bad shape. I mean, really bad shape. Like if I ate something like a piece of duff, I would wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, literally bent over in pain, crying out to Jesus for help. You know? So my gut was in bad shape. And I decided to, number one, start with the Ultimate Microbiome that you see advertised on the show. And number two, to stop doing the damage. I stopped eating gluten. And lo and behold, not only was my gut significantly healed, but it also helped me to lose all that excess weight I was carrying around that I'd been struggling to lose. And Ultimate Microbiome does have that prebiotic that he was talking about in that video. Ultimate Microbiome has the prebiotic, the probiotic, and the postbiotic. It has all three. And it is very, very effective. I swear by it. And even though my gut has been significantly healed, I still take it today. Because I find that, I want to continue to give myself as much of a healthy gut as possible, because that's your immune system. That's where 80% of your immune system is in your gut. So I think there was a point when I stopped the microbiome for about 2 months or so, but I didn't go back to eating the gluten. And I think I told you guys about that one time I went to one of my sponsors' events, and everything that they had there, all of the finger foods were fried and battered. And I made the mistake of eating one fritter and a couple of kebabs that were fried and battered. And that, I paid for that. That night, I couldn't sleep. I didn't get to sleep until about 4:30 in the morning. I could just feel that thing churning through my stomach. And I was like, never again. That one fritter wasn't that good for me to be going through this. So I'm sorry, if it's fried, it's gonna cause inflammation. If it has gluten, it's gonna cause inflammation, and inflammation is really what is the problem here. We have to call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle, good day. I need that number for your person who make that gluten free for you.
My cousin could beat me, She could beat me.
But another thing, Michelle, I want to ask you, as being a marathon runner, they have to eat a lot of pasta for carbohydrate to give you that, and you run in 26 miles. That they call carb loading. What is the best thing that a marathon runner can do?
Eat gluten-free pasta. You don't have to have pasta. There's gluten-free pasta on the market. There is gluten-free pasta on the market. You don't have to eat gluten. There's gluten-free pasta on the market. You could nowadays you have options. So
I
Yeah,
know. So
you don't have to. I had lunch this past weekend with some of my cousins. We went out to a restaurant all the way in the West. I can call the name because they ain't sponsored my show. And I said to the waiter said, does anybody have any kind of allergies or whatever? I said, no gluten. He said, okay, no problem, we'll take care of that. And everything they brought to the table, he made sure that the chef prepared it gluten-free. So even things that were normally with gluten, the chef had a tapioca flour. And so he used the tapioca flour instead of the wheat flour. Nobody at the table could tell the difference. It was absolutely delicious.
So I need to look for that and find that, because, like I said, being a marathon runner, you have to take in a lot of carbs.
Yeah, but again, you have options nowadays. You don't have to eat gluten. There are gluten-free pasta on the market, easy to find. So there's no excuse. Really, no excuse.
The number, what's the number?
I can't give out her number on the air. She'll absolutely scalp me because she doesn't tell me stop talking about her on the air because she doesn't bake full time. This is something.
I can find your voice and phone number and call you and tell her.
Yeah, leave your number with the producer, and I will give her your number.
Okay,
and
good.
I can let her decide because somebody else hit me up saying I need that person number, but child, I couldn't most give you her number on there. She would crucify me.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so just leave your number with the producer, and he'll send it to me.
All right.
Okay, so last clip of the day. And this one is another thing that you can do to try to help you to detox. And I have to tell you, this is one of the things that they used when I went to the United States to detox from the mold toxicity. This is one of the things that they used. It's called a far infrared sauna. Check this out.
If there was one single tool that you could be using to radically improve your cardiovascular health, what would it be? Bear in mind, this would be more important now than ever before, given the fact that we have seemingly young and healthy people dropping down dead from cardiovascular events, all for mysterious reasons which you and I both understand, but we can't really talk about. Let's imagine that this one thing could cut the risk of hospitalization and death from heart failure by practically 50%. This thing could improve blood circulation to the brain, the vital organs, the periphery, and improve practically every single measure of heart health. It could mimic many of the beneficial aspects of exercise, even for those people who can't do physical activity for whatever reason. And if that wasn't enough, this tool can also activate the body's own clearance mechanisms. These are used for basically getting rid of waste materials and especially defective proteins. With that in mind, it may be particularly beneficial to help get rid of the spike protein, which is renowned for causing problems in people who opted for a certain medical procedure. And listen, I'm not just talking about some diet or nutritional supplement. No, I'm talking about the thing that I'm sat in right now. So this bad boy is a far infrared sauna. But look, I understand that some of you watching this might not have the space to store a big sauna like this, or you may not have the ability to invest in something that's so expensive. But if that's the case, then don't worry, because I've got you guys covered. The truth is, you don't need to have a full sauna like this to get all of the benefits. There is in fact a very easy workaround available to most people. So if you want to find out what that solution is, stay tuned. But first of all, let's look at how these things work so well. Unlike traditional saunas, which heat the ambient air temperature and heat the body from without, this guy emits far infrared rays which penetrate the body deep within the tissue and heat the body from within. This increase in core body temperature is associated with something called heat stress. The elevation in core body temperature increases the output of the heart and the cardiovascular system. There is a redistribution of blood flow away from the central core towards the periphery. In this way, saunas are an excellent way to improve blood flow to the difficult areas across the body. Sauna can increase circulation and health of the blood vessels through enhancing the release of a molecule called nitric oxide. This treatment has been heavily studied in Japan under the name of Wawan therapy and has been used successfully in a wide variety of health conditions of the heart and vascular system. Although perhaps the main way by which infrared light works is through its ability to build structured water, which is now thought by some to be the primary mechanism behind driving blood flow through the microvessels. Here is what Gerald Pollack has to say about that.
It's not just the heart that's driving the flow, but there's this secondary mechanism, and this mechanism is also driving the flow, presumably at the level of the capillaries or the small vessels, and it's fueled by infrared energy.
And aside from playing a central role in blood flow, sauna therapy can also trigger a process called autophagy. Autophagy involves the clearance of damaged or dysfunctional proteins. And as it happens, stimulating this process is thought to be one of the most important things one can do to help the body clear out spike protein.
So we're running out of time, so I won't have time to let it go into talking about if you can't afford one of those saunas in your house, there are options. They have this thing that is sort of like a far infrared blanket that you can actually step into, and you get the same impact. Go online, Google it. It's a lot cheaper than trying to install a sauna into your house. But it's not just a regular sauna. It's a far infrared sauna that you need. Okay, so real quick, recap. And this is based on the information that was sent to me by the doctor. What do we do? Step number 1, over-the-counter or prescription medications such as ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, antihistamines, corticosteroids, low-dose naltrexone. Other interventions can actually help, like ozone treatments. I did that when I went to detox from mold as well. So do some investigation about the over-the-counter or prescription medication. Second thing that you can do, and I'm trying to go through this quickly because we're running out of time. Second thing that you need to do, where is it? Herbal remedies and teas. Is good for you to look into. Things like St. John's wort extract and other herbs are very, very good. That can help. Number 3, vitamins, minerals, and other professional supplements. I keep telling y'all, not all supplements are created equal, so you want something that can be absorbed by the body. And number 4, diet. Change your diet. Intermittent fasting, heat therapies like far infrared sauna, and oxygen therapy can help you tremendously to overcome this. Do not lose hope. Do not lose hope. You just have to realize now that you got to do what you got to do. You got to give your body a fighting chance. Don't stick your head in the sand and pretend you don't see what's going on around you. Fight back. Okay? And the best way to do that is holistically. That's my time, y'all. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing an analysis of the speech from the throne, talking about what was read today by our new Governor General in terms of government's plan and what that's going to look like for you and I, whether or not it was just a great speech or do you have some hope. That's tomorrow's show. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and share this show. People get this information out. We need to help people save their lives. And that's what the show is about today. Until tomorrow, God willing, I'll see you then. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners.